We all want to be chosen, but when that desire takes over, it can blind us into what's real. And when one person struggles to be authentic and the other is desperate to be chosen, it creates a dynamic that feels intense, but it isn't healthy, and it can sabotage love and connection. And that is exactly what unfolds between Nick and Annie on Love is Blind. So many of you have asked me to break down Nick and Annie's relationship, and there is a lot to unpack. That's why this will be a 2-part deep dive. So in part 1, we're going back to the beginning in the pods, where we see how Nick's connections with Kate and Annie begin, how Annie's longing for reassurance shows up early, and how both start forming attachment patterns that will carry through this season. Hi, I'm Dr. Pam, therapist and relationship counselor, and I am so passionate about helping you grow both in your relationships and personally. And if that is something that you would like more of, I'd love for you to subscribe so we can keep growing together. And I do also want to mention that I am aware that Love is Blind is a heavily edited show, and my comments are based on solely what we see in front of us so that I can provide you with relationship insights. And also for this video, I'm going to be using clips from the first 6 episodes. So here we go.
I want to date a boss lady.
I do it. Are you originally from Colorado?
I am not, but I love mountain life.
I'm a big mountain girl.
I'm not sure if you heard, I'm the best skier on the mountain. You know, I don't want to overly talk about work, but I buy and sell luxury watches. That gives me a very fluid lifestyle. So I think we have a lot in common. You're definitely jumping to the top of my list.
This is an act. I don't quite believe him.
Nick's authenticity is being questioned by these women, and understandably so. When you use lines when meeting people, authenticity naturally comes into question, and Nick even admits that he does use pickup lines. Let's watch.
My go-to pickup line, something I learned a while back from a good TV show of mine. Johnny Bravo always said, "Hey there, pretty little mama. Are you a underinsured beachfront property? Because I'm a tidal wave of love."
When you rely on lines, it naturally creates doubt about your intentions because you're not bringing your authentic self into the moment. And here's the thing. If you're looking for a lifelong partner, this is the time to let yourself be seen. On Love is Blind, there is a time crunch, which means you have to open up sooner rather than later if you want a real connection to grow.
Like going to Target, just makes me so happy.
Kate, you just jumped to my number 1 so fast. You have no idea. 16 amazing women on the other side, and it's fun. You know, we have great dates, but the relationship I have with Kate feels like it is so far beyond the other connections that I'm having right now. We agree on so many fundamental things. We've seen what a future could look like together, and it's wonderful.
There had to be a huge edit on Love is Blind because this is, I think, the first episode. And he says that he and Kate agree on so many fundamental things and that they see what a future looks like together. So why is he still talking about pickup lines as we see here?
Best pickups are on the chairlift. I wait until some little kid, probably like 5, 6 years old, absolutely eats it in yard sales. And I tap the girl on my right and I'm like, point, and I'm like, I'm better than him. And it normally gets off.
So you're bullying little kids to pick up girls.
Has that ever not worked for you?
More pickup lines. If I were Kate, I would ask, why do you feel the need to use pickup lines? Are you uncomfortable when you first meet a woman, or is it something else? When a man uses or a woman uses pickup lines, it can come across as inauthentic, like he's performing instead of connecting. It might feel a little confrontational to ask that question, but when you're looking for a life partner, this is exactly the time to ask real, honest questions that reveal who someone truly is.
I love spending time with Nick. I have never questioned our connection once. He is so sincere. He's so secure within our relationship. He is such a freaking sweetheart. I think part of me is just wondering, and maybe this is me being toxic, what's wrong? Why? How can you be so perfect? You know what I mean?
If I were counseling Kate, I would encourage her to take a huge step back. She is making some very big conclusions very early, deciding that Nick is sincere, secure, and a total sweetheart, and even saying she has never once questioned their connection. That, to me, is something concerning. Why isn't she questioning anything? She doesn't truly know him yet. She should leave the door open to possibilities because she is only seeing a small slice of who he is. And here's an important insight. People often rush to certainty when they are craving emotional safety, connection, or relief from loneliness. The fantasy of, I've finally found my person, can feel so good that it shuts down curiosity and discernment. Please don't ever do this in your own dating life. Stay open, stay curious, get to know someone over time, ask vulnerable questions, and pay attention not just to what someone says, but whether their actions consistently align with their words. Now, I understand that Love is Blind moves at a lightning speed, but even in a fast-paced environment, it is essential to not draw such absolute conclusions so quickly. When you lock in too soon, you stop gathering information, you stop seeing clearly, and that puts you at risk for deep hurt and disappointment.
Is there any hesitations you have about me?
I really don't think so. I'm trying to think about that critically. I don't just want to tell you that everything's going fine if it's not, but I have been really reassured by you, and I really, really feel deeply and strongly that you are, the one that I could be looking for.
That was an excellent question, and the fact that he answered that he had no hesitation is again a red flag. You need to understand the challenges your partner brings to a relationship. The real work of partnership isn't about where you instantly connect. It's about how you navigate the places where you don't. Disconnection will show up in every relationship, and it's helpful to get a glimpse of those differences early on. Right now, they are leaning into the fantasy that everything is perfect, and that is a huge mistake. Real love isn't built on perfection. It's built on two people being honest about who they are and how they handle the hard times together. So next, Nick describes Annie S. as a wild card. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but he does say that the complexities of living hours away is a challenge. However, he describes Annie this way.
It's an intense flame. It's this curiosity and this wonder. She's so much like me in a lot of ways, and I think that's really, really cool.
So fill me in, do you feel like this is getting more serious for you? Or are you still just having so much fun?
It's getting insanely serious. I was laying in bed last night, and it's do I want easy, or do I want hard, or do I want fluffy, or do I want real?
I don't even know what that means. Do I want easy or hard, fluffy or real? It's confusing. I would definitely pause and explore by asking what he means. Here's a really important dating tip. Don't assume you understand someone's meaning. Ask. Invite them to go deeper. Ask, can you say more about that? What does real or fluffy mean to you? And what does easy or hard mean to you in a relationship? When you rely on assumptions, you risk building a story in your own head that may be completely different from the reality, and that can lead to misunderstandings and painful misjudgments. Healthy dating is about getting as much clarity as is possible. Curiosity protects you. Assumptions put you at risk of getting hurt.
Do you feel like you're ready to get married?
I do. Plain and simple. I could go on the reasons why, but if you're looking for a short answer, I really do.
No, the short answer is good.
No, the short answer he gave is not good at all. That was a meaningful question. Do you think you're ready for marriage? And you cannot assume that someone is truly ready just because they say yes. Words are easy. Readiness is shown through self-awareness, emotional maturity, and actions that align with your words. When you're discerning marriage potential, look for real indicators of readiness, such as how do you approach conflict? What challenges do you personally bring into a relationship? How do you view roles in a marriage, if at all? What do you do when the relationship feels disconnected or challenging? These are the questions that reveal whether someone can actually do partnership, not just talk about it. Now, I realize in Love is Blind, they are just talking about it, but it still is a good start. Don't marry answers, marry self-awareness and emotional maturity, and you will find that in conflict, deep conversations and vulnerable sharing help you grow.
I want to be engaged in a week. Like, I'm getting married. Like, I want to be married, and I'm really excited.
When I hear someone say, I want to be engaged in a week and I'm getting married, I get concerned. It makes me worry that Annie is focused on the end goal instead of the process of building love. I understand that Love is Blind moves quickly. However, I've watched couples on this show be very intentional in the pods. They ask questions with depth, questions that reveal potential deal breakers, and questions that help them see whether they are truly aligned, both as individuals and as a couple. And I fully understand the desire to start a new chapter in your life, to get married, to build a family, to move forward in life. That longing is real and deeply human. But when the end goal becomes the priority, you risk missing the most important part of dating, discovering who the other person really is and whether the two of you can build something solid together. If you are locked in on the outcome, you may only look for signs that confirm what you want, like paying attention only to what you have in common, and you ignore the red flags simply because you're hoping it will work. When you rush the process, you don't truly choose a partner. You choose a fantasy and hope the reality will match that fantasy, and sadly, it rarely does. So next, Annie spills her water in the pod, and Nick says this.
It's a little wet over there, huh?
Listen,
I have that effect on people.
I did your job for you.
Okay, hold on to what he said because I'll say more about that as we go. But for now, let's keep going.
Like, everything turns me on. Everything's sexy. I'm like, you want to hold my hand? Sexy. You want to come, like, hop in the shower with me? Sexy. You want to, like, touch the back of my neck while I'm making coffee in the morning? Sexy. You want to put your hand across my back while we're out grocery shopping? Sexy. Like, you want to come to my salon and help me, like, clean up after work? And we, like, lock the door? Sexy.
I hear you.
Annie is very clear about what she sees as sexy, and her list focused heavily on physical touch and closeness. Because of that, I would encourage Nick to follow up with questions like, what feels not sexy in a relationship? Understanding both sides matter. If physical affection is such a core part of how Annie experiences connection, then knowing what turns her off, shuts her down, or creates distance would give Nick a much fuller picture of her relational needs as well as possible red flags.
What's the craziest place you've ever done it?
Like, on a balcony on vacation.
Like right now, I'm like, I have the sex drive to be there. I'm even getting a little turned on over here just saying that.
Okay, I love that.
Is that carpet still wet over there? You gave me a lot to get bothered by. This question on here, it's like, what is one thing you wish you could wake up and gain tomorrow? And I'm like, an extra inch.
Listen, man, a bigger isn't always better.
Don't worry, I got a chode. It's like really short, but like super wide.
Obviously, sexual intimacy is an important part of a relationship. However, the way Nick talks about sexual experiences could cross boundaries for many people. There is a difference between being playful and sexually curious versus speaking in a way that feels performative, intrusive, or disconnected from emotional intimacy. It's possible that Nick is simply being playful, and it's also possible that Annie enjoys that energy. But here's the teaching I want you to take with you. Pay attention to how someone's sexual communication aligns with you. That's what actually matters. Ask yourself, does this sexual expression feel respectful, connected, and aligned with my values? Or does it make me uncomfortable? Sexual compatibility isn't just about desire. It's about shared comfort, shared boundaries, and shared meaning. And remember, sexual pacing matters. If someone rushes you, sexual intimacy becomes pressure instead of connection. So next, Annie just shared that Nick is fun, but believes that Brendan is her number one person. Let's watch.
I'm always like, I'm excited to see Brendan, like I'm excited to come back to him. I gotta go talk to my husband.
You know, we have a great time, but I think it's a matter of figuring out who we are together we're still individuals, you know.
Again, Annie seems to be pushing for the end goal. In contrast, I really love that Brendan said he wants to figure out who they are together. He's trying to slow things down and go deeper, and that is exactly what couples on this show need to do. Because there is so little time, it becomes even more important to use that time wisely, to ask meaningful questions, to explore differences, and to understand each other beyond the fantasy. The goal isn't to arrive at the engagement, it's to discover whether the foundation you're building can actually support a real relationship outside of the pods. Brendan asked Annie to share a good memory from her childhood, an excellent question. She answers, and then she turns it back on him and asks him the same thing.
I can always remember just being out in the backyard with my dad, always like playing catch, hitting, you know, baseballs or golf balls into the net. He would just get straight home from work and he'd be like, all right, let's go outside. Like, let's go.
That's how my dad always was.
I had a great childhood, felt very safe, secure, loved.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna provide that for my kids too.
Such a good answer.
Questions about childhood memories can create powerful emotional intimacy because they reveal what shaped a person, not just who they are today. And in this case, Brendan's answer shows how his early experiences influence the kind of father he hopes to be. That's meaningful. This is the kind of depth you want to listen for when you're searching for a life partner, for insight and reflection and a willingness to connect past experiences to future intentions. When someone can articulate how their story shaped them, it usually means that they've done some emotional work, and that is a strong foundation for a healthy relationship. So next, Annie shares with Brendan that she could see herself with him, and she explains that she has given him a lot of reassurance. It seems she feels she isn't receiving that same level of reassurance in return. I'll speak to that in a moment because reassurance dynamics can reveal a lot in the early stages of a relationship, but first, let's watch this.
Are you affectionate?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Like how affectionate?
It's not just the sex. It's the little things for me that do matter. For example, you're cooking, I'll come up and give you a hug.
I am very affectionate to the point where it's like, you're my man, like you're my husband, I'm gonna be touching you. Just like, you know, we're driving, I'm holding your hand. We're at the grocery store, I'm holding your hand. I wanna be as close to my person as I possibly can be all the time.
Oh boy, we're seeing some yellow caution flags here. Annie has said that she needs a lot of reassurance, and when she also shares that she wants to be as close to her partner all the time, that raises important questions. I would want to explore what she feels when she and her partner are not together. How does she experience space or distance? How does she show up as an individual within a relationship? And can she self-soothe when reassurance isn't immediately available? It's simply not realistic to be affectionate or emotionally present every moment. There will be times when her partner is tired, stressed, or having a bad day and doesn't feel affectionate. The real question becomes, how does she handle those moments of disconnection or unmet needs? Because long-term relationships require the ability to tolerate emotional space, self-regulate, and remain secure even when everything doesn't feel close. Closeness is important, but equally important is how you handle moments of disconnection, because they will come, and that's where emotional maturity or not shows up in a relationship.
What do you need that we have not talked about?
A husband? Where's my ring? Just getting tired, Brendan. Brendan's probably the best match out of all of them at this point. And now I'm just waiting for him to tell me that he loves me.
So Annie laughs when she answers Brendan's question, but you can tell that she means it. And when Annie says that Brendan is probably the best match for her out of everyone, that's concerning. You don't choose a life partner based on probably. That language tells me that she is more focused on achieving the goal of marriage, like I said, than on building a solid foundation with someone she truly knows and deeply connects with. And here's the challenge for Annie. If she has a strong need for reassurance and physical affection, but is more focused on simply getting married, she will never truly have those needs met. Reassurance and affection come from a relationship built on vulnerability, trust, and emotional safety. And that kind of foundation can only grow when you are also doing your own inner work. When you learn to meet some of your own emotional needs, you stop seeking constant validation from your partner, and you start creating a relationship based on mutual love rather than dependency. So after her date with Brendan, she tells the interviewer that she wants to see Nick to get out of her head. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but let's see where this goes.
Annie is such a hot name to me. I can imagine saying your name in bed and being just like, oh, Annie.
Annie is drawn to being spoken to this way because she feels desired and wanted. And of course, who doesn't want that? But the problem is, when feeling desired becomes the main source of emotional security, that's concerning. If you live in that constant state of needing reassurance, affection, and verbal confirmation to feel grounded in the relationship, it eventually becomes a heavy burden for your partner. No one, not even a loving and committed partner, can meet that need all the time. When reassurance becomes almost a demand, the relationship becomes pressure instead of connection. And with Nick, again, we're back to the sex talk. We can't know how much of this is about editing, but what we can see is that he does consistently steer the conversation in that direction. And that makes me wonder, how does he actually view intimacy? Is intimacy to him primarily physical and performance-based, or does he connect sex with emotional closeness, vulnerability, and mutual care? Because those two are very different. Okay, so next, Nick tells Annie that basically, if she is the one, he can now actually see them living in both places, Dillon and Denver. Annie gets very excited, so let's see where this goes.
What did you just say?
Going to our place in Denver? I said the our word.
I know. What is this?
I mean it.
Nick, what? What has happened?
I feel you. Look, I'm showing out for you, Annie.
I know.
So, hey, you got me, all right?
He is speaking very seriously about commitment to Annie, referring to home as ours and saying things like, I'm showing up for you. You've got me. Those are commitment level statements. The problem is that he is speaking in the same way to two different women. I always find this concerning on Love is Blind. I understand that the purpose of this show is to explore multiple connections to find your person, but when you tell more than one person that they are your person, that's going to backfire. When you use words of commitment without emotional clarity, you create attachment without authenticity. It may feel romantic or validating in the moment, but it isn't grounded in truth. This isn't about being a bad person. It's about being out of alignment with your authentic self. Authenticity doesn't look like telling two people the same thing, just to keep options open or to maintain attention or a certain amount of control. Authenticity is honesty, self-reflection, and vulnerable sharing. And it's not just Nick. Annie is doing something similar with Brendan. Both seem caught up in the excitement of being desired and the thrill of the possibility of being chosen. But that's not the same thing as genuine connection.
I'm like so confident in our connection.
And like confident in each other and just like happy.
I love that. And I love you, Kate. I really do mean that. Like, I don't say that lightly. I never have ever before. But I am so in love with you and in love with your soul.
So, Nick can imagine himself living with Annie, but he just told Kate that he loves her. Let's see where Kate goes with this.
So incredibly romantic to me and loving and just so you.
That's what you get with me.
You've given me nothing to question. I've been really falling hard for you too.
That idea that you have nothing to question is so concerning. When I'm counseling a person who is dating, I always ask, what don't you like about this person? Because there will always be things that you don't like. Those are the parts of a relationship that require discernment to understand what you can accept, what you can grow through, and what might be a deal breaker. Even though Love is Blind moves at an accelerated speed, the same principle applies. Don't just look for connection. Look for concerns, not from a place of fear or cynicism, but from awareness. Healthy love isn't built on ignoring flaws. It's built on seeing reality clearly and still choosing with intention.
I haven't felt
I've noticed.
a love like this in a very long time. I want you because you challenge me and you've made me feel like the man I am right now. I'll be thinking about you.
You better not be thinking about anyone else.
You're my person. Will you let me fight for you?
Absolutely. That's hot.
I'm gonna fight for you, Kate.
So why does Nick feel that he has to fight for Kate? In healthy love, two people are working to build a foundation together, not fighting for one another. When love is mutual, it becomes more secure. It naturally grows through shared effort and emotional safety, not through competition, pursuit, or proving your worth.
I feel like today
My needs are a little different. You know, like I need more like validation. To be transparent with you, I have another connection.
I've had to really examine myself and be like, what do I need?
Yeah.
I feel like you just still have like a little hesitation, and I'm like just trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Honestly, I'm trying to wrap my mind about like having multiple connections.
Like I do have trust issues.
This moment feels more real. It is the kind of conversation they should be having. There's openness about both of them having multiple connections. Annie sharing that she has trust issues and that her ex hurt her by cheating, and Nick reveals that he has never cheated. I didn't show you all of this. But these are the conversations that build genuine connection, or can possibly build genuine connection, because they move past chemistry into character. And when you talk about trust, past pain, and values, you begin to see who someone really is beneath the surface. This is where emotional intimacy starts, not in the smooth one-liners or big declarations, but in honest dialogue about what has shaped you and what matters most to you now.
I'm ready to get married.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm not just jerking you around over here, Annie. I could see myself proposing to you.
Thank you for saying that. I needed that, to be honest with you. I'm like having a hard time because I'm like, are you saying it to everybody? Like,
No, I'm intentional. I want to give you that assurance. Like, I'm gonna fight for you.
So now Nick says he's going to fight for both Kate and Annie. He tells Annie that he's never cheated, and while that may be technically true, he's saying the same emotionally intimate things to two women. That is a form of betrayal, and it can be deeply hurtful. People often do this when they are trying to manage multiple connections without losing anyone. It can come from insecurity, fear of rejection, or a desire to keep options open while avoiding emotional responsibility. But when you try to maintain connection with more than one person by using commitment language with both of them, you are not being authentic. You are managing how they perceive you.
I'm ready to be married, and I'm like, holy shit. You're giving me all the signs that point to yes.
Aw, cutie.
But I really felt jumbled up today. The fact that I can see a future with you and how comforting and secure that feels, but the fact that I can also see that with somebody else. I'm being pulled in two separate directions.
I find myself wondering how Nick decides that he's ready for marriage when he's still struggling to navigate what it means to build trust with someone. When you're being pulled in two directions, that is a signal to pause, not to commit. It is a moment for self-reflection, not declaration of love. You can't call this love, and you certainly can't call it readiness for marriage. Real readiness means having the capacity to choose one person with clarity, integrity, and emotional awareness. If anything, the honest thing to say in this moment would be, I am not ready for marriage yet because I feel torn between two people. That kind of honesty is maturity.
You told me you loved me 2 days ago.
I know.
That's kind of up, honestly, on your end.
The fact that I'm having hesitation does not mean that I'm not in love with you. You should know that you're the only person I've said that to.
Well, I would hope so. If you said I love you to two separate people in these pods, that's not love. You could say I like you, I love spending time with you, but you don't say I love you unless you truly love someone for life.
There is only one thing to say to Kate's response, and that's bingo, she nailed it. I didn't show you this part, but Kate also said that he said I love you so fast to her, and it felt a bit like love bombing. And Nick replies with, that's how I felt in the moment, and that moment was real for me. Kate goes on to say that love is eternal, not just a moment, and this is Nick's response.
My love for you will honestly never change. Like, my feelings for you can go throughout time. And we're both buried 10 feet under the ground. And I will still say that I love you because you touched something within me that made me feel that love. When I love somebody, you're gonna have my love for life. I'm not just gonna take it away and play with that in a very silly way.
So you're not taking it back?
No, how can I?
Nick does seem to live in the moment. He expresses that he will love Kate until he is buried 10 feet under the ground, and then this happens.
I do feel like if God puts us on a path, it's for a reason. And being that you would be such an important part of my life, do you think that you would be open to exploring your relationship with God or with religion?
Probably not. I have never been a religious person.
Never been a religious person, are you kidding me?
Okay, so we know where this goes. Nick has a very strong upset reaction that Kate does not believe in God. But let me just show you a bit more, and then I will say more about all of this.
I just don't know if it's the kind of love that could get us through. Because with my other connection, we haven't even talked about love or anything like that. But I just can't go through with this.
It's kind of unbelievable. Like, what the hell, dude? That's not what you do when you're in love. And if that is, I don't want to be with you. Because love to me is never turning your back on that person.
I'm really sorry that I hurt you, but I got hurt too.
This is what happens when someone doesn't show up authentically in a relationship. I will say that Kate demonstrated emotional maturity in this moment. She communicated directly and is emotionally aware. Nick says that he's hurt too, and that may be true, but his growth work is to reflect on why he struggles to fully show up for another person authentically. When someone has difficulty being authentic, they often create an image of who they think they need to be in order to be liked or chosen. The problem is that maintaining that image disconnects them from their true self, and inevitably that leads to disappointment and hurt, both for themselves and for the person that they are dating. Authenticity requires vulnerability. Period. It means risking not being liked in order to be truly seen. Without that, relationships become performance, and eventually the performance will break down.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Wow, I just really hurt somebody, and it's not easy. They really came at me with daggers.
So the daggers must have been edited out because I did not see any. And based on what we did see, I would not describe Kate as coming at him with daggers. Here's what I think is happening. When a person struggles to be authentic and has built an image of who they are, even if that image isn't fully aligned with reality, that's how they see themselves. It becomes part of their identity. So when Nick hurt Kate, that image was challenged. He is no longer the funny guy, the wanted guy, or the likable guy. Now he's the guy who caused someone pain. And that realization likely stirs up some shame. But here's the tricky part. Shame is hard to sit with, even though he did admit that he hurt Kate. By saying that Kate came at him with daggers, he shifts the narrative from being the one who caused the pain to being the one who was hurt. It's a way to replace the feeling of shame with the more comfortable role of feeling wronged. I am not suggesting that he isn't genuinely hurting. He likely is. but it's a different kind of pain. It's the pain of his self-image being threatened. When someone's sense of self is built on an inauthentic image and that image is challenged, shame often surfaces unconsciously. In those moments, people tend to move quickly to restore that identity that feels safe, the version of themselves that they see as likable or funny or confident, rather than staying with the vulnerability of what just happened. Authentic growth requires doing the opposite. It means slowing down, facing the discomfort, and allowing yourself to see the truth of who you are, not just the image you want to preserve.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Just said a prayer last night that God would help refresh my spirit so that I could be here and be present with you today. And he definitely answered that. I'm here because of you. I know you are the one. Like, it's no longer I think, or it might. It's like, I'm choosing you.
So overnight, Nick decides that Annie is the one. And here's the thing. When Nick says, I'm choosing you, that is not how a healthy relationship works. You don't suddenly end one relationship where you've expressed feelings of love and then immediately decide that you are choosing someone else. In a healthy relationship, you choose each other through mutual understanding, emotional safety, and the shared experience of growing closer over time. Again, I realize this is Love is Blind, but I think you know what I mean. And this is where the dynamic becomes concerning. Annie has a strong need to be chosen, to feel wanted and secure through someone else's affirmation. Nick, on the other hand, seems drawn to the validation that restores his self-image. Those two needs align, but not in a healthy way. It creates a cycle where each person's insecurity temporarily soothes the others, rather than building the kind of grounded mutual connection that real love requires. One more thing that is very important. Let's watch.
Annie, if it's someone else, I need you to say it, please. I just need to hear it.
I don't know if I'm self-sabotaging or if I'm just choosing someone else, like choose someone else. Like, I don't know.
If you don't know, you are not ready for marriage, period. Okay, that is a wrap for today. Make sure to come back for part 2 of Nick and Annie. And as you probably already know, there is a lot to unpack. See you next time.